Okay, we just finished our last practice in pads, and Thursday will be review of the spring and preparation for the spring game. We're excited about Saturday. It'll be just like a game with the offense and defense. We will not have live kicking. We will have extra point field goals live, but the punting, the kickoff coverage, the kickoff returns, we really don't have enough depth to do that, and a lot of injuries occur in those areas. So we'll punt against air, and we'll kick off against air, and probably won't even return, because we've really worked hard on punt block, and punt return this spring. We haven't worked as hard on the other areas of kicking. We'll get that in the fall, and figure a lot of the newcomers will be involved in some of the kicking game as well. But guys worked really hard Saturday. We had a very good scrimmage, by far the best we've had, and I've told them now they need to give each other the gift of consistency. Play at a very high level like we did Saturday, and do it every day, because we're still too up and down. They'll come out one day and have too many penalties or not be quite as sharp, and we're not a team that can win unless we play with high energy and give it all we've got every day. So it'll be a challenge on Thursday for them coming out here in shorts. They've got to come out here with a lot of energy and have a great practice and really be focused, and that's what we're working on.
It's going to be 4 quarters with normal scoring and all that stuff?
No, we don't have enough players to do that. We're really not too deep on defense. There'll be probably 5 defensive starters, possibly, that won't be even dressed.
Yeah.
So we'll go an hour. It'll be about 70 plays like we have our last 2 scrimmages.
Right.
And I've got to figure out exactly how that's going to work. Defense will be in white, offense will be in blue, and we're just going to do like we have. We're going to have a game against each other. And we'll have Carolina in one end zone and Tar Heel in the other, and we'll keep the ball, keep those teams going the same way throughout the game, and the one that gets in that end zone the most will win the game.
I know there's a lot of question marks about the kicking game coming into spring. Have you seen enough to kind of get a better impression of what you're working with?
Yes, Ruggles did a great job early. He slipped and was inconsistent about 3 or 4 practices ago. Saturday and today he made every kick, so he's just got to be consistent, and we told him that the most important thing is every time you make a kick, it's to win a game. And then when you come for that kick to win the game, you've already done it. You've done it every time, and you've made it every time, and by going through that mental process, it makes that kick easy for you. It shouldn't be any different than an extra point. Punting is, all of them are talented, but they've been too inconsistent.
What about kick returner? You have guys, a couple names there you can give us. I know punt returner is probably Daz, what the players have told us.
Well, we're looking at Daz and Toe Graves and Corey Bell. Okay. And they'll probably be the same ones that we'll be looking at with kickoff returns.
So the same 3?
Yes.
Okay.
Is there an element of this team that has maybe exceeded what you thought you had before camp started?
Yes, I like the team. I like who they are. They've tried to do everything that we've asked them to do. And one of the toughest things is to build trust when you come in. And we always said you got to learn to communicate before you can get trust and respect. And then we got a common purpose, and I think all that's pulling together, all that's working with this team really well. So I like where we are with the team. We don't have a split of old and young. We don't have guys that hate their coach, and so I think for the first 4 months it's been about as good as it could be.
What might be the biggest concerns you have? Is it kicking game, or are there any other concerns that you hope to address going forward?
The biggest concern that we've got right now would be in the front 7. We are really, really thin in the defensive line, and we're thin at linebacker. So I told the coaches we got to coach them up, and it doesn't matter whether they think they're experienced or even talented. Get the guys playing hard, get them in the right place, and they'll play better than even they have in their past and think they can play. But right now, that would be the challenge, the front 7 on defense.
Is that including the guys that are out right now? If you incorporate them in, you're still...
Well, we haven't seen them. So, we have to look, those guys have to get healthy. We're really studying why they've had so many injuries here the last 2 years, and we're looking at it hard. We're going back through every injury and trying to pull up the film, the video of what happened for that injury, and looking at why it happened, how quickly they got back on the field. So we're looking at all those injuries, because we got to get more depth for one thing, but we cannot continue to have that many injuries. And then secondly, all of those guys are going to have to earn their way, but you've got Strobridge and Dorn and Woolfolk and Cater and Hopper, all of those guys, you know, they haven't taken a snap all spring. So you add the incoming guys to that group, and we'll definitely be a better team when we start August 1st than we will on Saturday.
Have you been able to figure out any indication of why the injuries were?
No. No, that's why I'm asking them to do it, just to go back and look over the last 2 years.
Who's them? Medical staff?
The medical staff, yes. Luke Ross, trainer, is the one that I deal with, but I want them to go back and look at all of it and try to see if they can come up with any reasons when they happened, what time of the year they happened, what drills they were they in games, were they in practice, just have a complete overview to find out why.
In your experiences, when you see a rash of injuries back-to-back years like that, is it more than just coincidence, or was there? Your experience tell you that there was something that maybe was wrong?
Yeah, the only time it happened in my life was our last year at Texas. We lost 15 guys that were starters, and I couldn't figure it out then, and then I left. So, but that's the only time it happened. I do know when you get more depth and guys aren't playing as much, and they're fresh when they're in the game, you're less likely to be injured. I do know that. So we'll be a lot deeper in the fall than we are today.
Mack, Tommy Thigpen was very high on Trey Morrison before he ever stepped foot on campus last summer. Obviously had a good freshman year. Kind of what have been your impressions of what he's done in the secondary for you?
He's very smart. Trey's very smart. He has excellent instincts, and he's tough. And he's passionate. He loves the game. So he plays like an older guy. In fact, we have to hold him out of some things because he's not a big body type, and he's a hitter. So we have to make sure that we keep him fresh, because you'd like to have him out there every play. So we'll have to look at how much he can play and where. But he is a good football player.
Is he primarily a nickel?
Yes.
In talking to a lot of the defensive players the last couple of weeks, asking for some names, guys that are standing out, a lot of them have mentioned Jeremiah Gemmel. What's been your impression in him, what he brings to the field, and how he's progressed since camp started?
Jeremiah Gemmel, very much like Trey Morrison, is a guy with instincts. He can really run. He's been passionate. He's quiet. Trey's the leader. He talks all the time. Jeremiah never speaks. So we need to get him to talk and start making his calls a little bit louder in there. But the only thing that Jeremiah needs, he needs two things. He needs to get stronger, and he needs to have more experience, and that's it. But he's really fast with instincts, loves to play. He will hit you, so he should be a good linebacker in time.
Kind of what stood out so far about DJ Ford?
DJ has been very impressive this spring. He's got length. He's very tall and has the good arm span, so that's great for a defensive back. He's very fast. He's very smart. And he's playing really hard. He's been hurt some in his past, so he's another guy that's been trying to stay out there, and he's had a sore knee, but he continues to come out and practice. So, and he asked me the other day, what does he need to improve? With his length, being so tall, he's got to play with more leverage and tackle better in space, but he's learning all that. So we've been very, very impressed with him this spring.
All righty. Thanks, y'all.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you all.